So I am going to explain today a very important part, that is food chain. So children, chain. What is the meaning of chain? So chain basically a sequence of events or a sequence in anything. Suppose we prepare vegetable, we cook vegetable. So first what to do? We take the vegetables, we wash, then we peel, we cut, then we add in frying pan or pressure or whatever case is. Then we add spices, salt, little bit of water, anything else. So this is the sequence. We prepare tea. We take a pan, add milk, add water, tea leaves, sugar, then we boil and then we filter, then we sip the tea or coffee. So it is the sequence. So food chain is the same pattern. Actually, food means meal. So it is the eating habit. It is the eating relationship. It is the feeding relationship. So food chain may be defined as the feeding relationship between different organisms. Food chain may be defined as the feeding relationship between different organisms. Feeding relationship means how we feed, how we take the food, and so it is a relationship. Like for example, you take the case of uh, any simplest organism, let it be pigeon. So pigeon, it feeds on the grains. Then pigeon is fed by cat, dog. It is dog. Then again it can be cat, dog can be eaten by the eagle. This I have written cat. It can be rat here also. So there is a particular sequence. You may say grains, mouse, cat, eagle. So this is a particular sequence of the events, and there is a relationship that grains are produced by the plants, and plants are autotrophs. So basically we draw arrow mark in a particular direction. Here, grains taken by pigeon, eaten by cat, eaten by eagle. Eagles are very huge. Eagles, they are able to catch the cats also. Very huge. Eagles have very strong limbs. So eagles can catch up, take it and fly. So you must take care. So children, we draw in a particular direction. A sequence we draw in a particular direction. This is the direction. Means this is the way, this is the direction of movement, and this is the representation of the food chain. Food chain, this is the simplest idea how we represent the food chain and how we draw. Similarly, we can do for different conditions. Just you will see. Food chain, children, always starts with the autotroph. Food chain always starts with autotroph. Autotrophs. Autotrophs are the plants. Autotrophs means plants because the grains or the grass, plants, they produce grains. So let it be autotrophs first. Autotrophs, plants which are capable of manufacturing their food material. Plants, they are green. Plants have chlorophyll. I had explained yesterday. Due to photosynthesis, plants prepare their food material by taking carbon dioxide, water, minerals, sunlight, and that's why the plants are called as autotrophs. And so plants are eaten. Plants are eaten by deer. Say if just I am drawing another food chain, here we have the grass. You must say this is this is a jungle, and here there are the bushes. This is a forest, and so they are autotrophs. This is bush. So deer. These are the plants. Deer feeds upon the grass, bushes in the forest. And deer is eaten up by the lion, tiger. So this is one way. So you have to keep in mind that always in all the conditions, the autotrophs are the starting organisms because autotrophs prepare the food material and it is taken up by this is deer. Then deer is here. So this is one way of the food. Children, I'm going to tell one more part about the food chain. In all the food chains, this is the starting, this is the last organism in the chain. This is the autotroph is the starting organism and lion is the last. So this is consumer. This is consumer. This is last consumer. This is primary consumer. This is consumer. This is primary consumer. It consumes. This is last consumer. So in the sequence in the food chain that the primary consumer is consumed by the several consumers as here it is made up of only 3. So last consumer, when it dies in all the chains, when the last consumer dies. So after death, the remains of the body of tiger or any other consumer. It is, decomposed. There is a decomposition. Decomposed in nature, and simple substance is formed. Simple substance is formed, which are identical to earth. You all must know humus. So humus is the nutritive part of the soil. So this humus, what we can say, it is basically the humus. Nutrition, it provides nutrition. Again, so it mix up in the soil. So children, here there is a particular chain. This is chain. Primary, this is producer, autotroph. We call here it as producer. It is producer. Autotrophs are producer. They produce the food material taken up by the deer. Deer is eaten up by the lion because lions always feed on the small animals. So lion, tiger, when they die, then their body is decomposed into simpler substances. Then it mixes up with the soil, and ultimately a chain is completed. So in all the chains, there is a particular sequence, and only it cannot be reversed. There is a particular sequence, and this is a particular code chain, and how this is the explanation how the different food chains are connected together, how different organisms are connected in a particular food chain. So children, you have seen the food chain, how different organisms are interconnected, how different organisms are connected together. And so you have seen about the producer. So producers are the first. Producers are autotrophs, and they are green plants, trees. They manufacture their own food by the sunlight. So this you have to know. These are the organisms capable of producing. Capable of producing their own food material. So, example, all plants. All the plants, when we refer to plants, it means we are talking to green plants. Now, second point is consumers. So, children, consumers are the organisms which feeds on the producers. So, consumers, they are of different condition. So, they are the organisms which feed on producers and other organisms. Other organisms, like the persons who eat the chicken, who eat the eggs, so they are directly depending on the other. So for a non-veg person, the chicken is also one more point. Those persons who eat milk is taken by the cow. So it is. So what I want to tell that the consumers are heterotrophs. Heterotrophs means different feeding habits. So heterotrophs are organisms. Organisms having different feeding nature, or different feeding habits. And so we explain like this, we tell like this. So now children, the consumers can be of different type. It can be primary consumer, or it can be secondary consumer, depending on the type. Now the consumers are of different types. So first is primary consumers, and second is secondary consumers. So as name indicates, primary consumers. So primary means starting. So primary consumers are those consumers which feeds on the autotrophs. So they feed on autotrophs. Example: deer, mouse, hen, etc. They are all feeding on the autotrophs. Now coming to secondary consumers, the consumers which feed on primary consumers. They feed on primary consumers. They depend on primary consumers for their food, like cat, dog, snake. Example: cat, dog, lion. They are depending on the primary consumers. And so children, there are some other third category of consumers, and this is tertiary consumer. What is tertiary? Tertiary means third. So what is tertiary? Tertiary consumers. Tertiary means third. So the consumer is said to be tertiary when it feeds upon the secondary. So they feed on secondary consumers. Example: eagle, hawk. They eagle, hawk, vultures. They can eat anything, children. Eagle, you all must know eagle, hawk, vulture. They can even eat mouse, any small insect. Even lion is if there. Any buffalo, peacock, anything. So they are the tertiary consumers. Tertiary consumers, they feed upon anything, any primary or secondary. And so this is one very important part about the consumers. Now, children, next very important part is the decomposers. This is the consumer. Then fourth is decomposers. So children, decomposer is last in the food chain. Last organism in the food chain. Decompose means to break the complex substances into simple. So they are the microbes, bacteria, fungus, etc. So they are the organisms which feed on the remains of body parts, remains of body parts of all the consumers, body parts of all the consumers. Why have been all the consumers? Because if grass is eaten by the deer, if by any disease deer is dead, then chain stops there for that particular case, and the body of the deer is decomposed and it is mixed up in the soil by the degradation, and so this is very important part. So example, bacteria, viruses, fungus, they all are examples of decomposers. So decomposers are able to clean the, children have to keep in mind, decomposers are able to clean the environment by converting the complex substance into simple substance. And so this is very much important because they are mixed up in the soil, and so decomposers are also a part. So children, 4 points I'm going to revise. First is producers, they are autotrophs, secondary, then second is primary consumer like mouse, deer, then secondary consumer like dog, then tertiary consumers like lion, and last decomposers. So decomposers are in the last of the chain. They convert the complex substances, complex body parts or remains of the body parts, and so this is all about the food chain.